Yo, what's up and welcome back to another episode of Music Culture Daily. I'm your host, Maurice. Before we get started, let's give a shout out to the legendary vinyl wall behind me. All right, now let's get right into the video. My album of the day comes from none other than my man, Jay-Z, and this is his third studio album, which is entitled Volume 2, Hard Knock Life. I'm choosing this album today from the vinyl wall to listen to because this is just one of my favorite Jay-Z albums out of all the albums that he released in his legendary career. I think Jay-Z has released 13-14 studio albums, and this right here falls in my top 5. It's just something about this album, the memories, the time period that it came out, the nostalgia around it. It's just a great studio album. This is also, a lot of you may not know, Jay-Z's highest selling album to date. This album has sold over 5 million copies since it was released on September 29th, 1998. This album also is known for launching Jay-Z into the commercial mainstream and basically taking his career to the next level. He was already known before this album. He released, of course, Reasonable Doubt, the classic debut from him in 1996. In 1997, he released the first volume of his volume series, In My Lifetime, Volume 1 in 1997. So he followed this up. He was 3 albums in, 3 years in a row, and he came out with this one. If you know Jay-Z, if you're a fan of hip hop, I'm sure you've seen this album cover. This is the vinyl album version, the same as you've been seeing throughout the years. Basically, you get a picture of Jay-Z standing next to a drop top Bentley. This is the front cover. Then on the back, you get Jay-Z again leaning against the same drop top Bentley, and of course, you get the album track listing and album information, label information at the bottom. What I like about this album the most, man, is the production. You see him team up with a young Swizz Beatz. Timbaland was coming up in the rap game at this time, and it was just a different sound from what we heard from Jay-Z on his previous albums. He also, like I said, he kicked it off with the lead single, Hard Knock Life, Ghetto Anthem, which featured the classic sample from the Annie movies from the early 80s, that classic musical, and he sampled that into one of the greatest hip-hop singles of all time. That song was produced by a producer named 45 King. Also, I like that I like the song on here, Money Cash Hoes, featuring DMX, which was also hot at the time. DMX was on fire at this time. He also have Jaz-O on this album with Nigga What, Nigga Who, featuring The Mill on the Originator 1999. He has an appearance on here from Too Short. Memphis Bleek actually kicks off the album on the intro, Hand It Down. And then you also have the major label debut of Ja Rule on this album with the song Can I Get A? You know, and like I said, he has Foxy Brown on this album with the song Paper Chase, and also he has a song with It's Like That featuring Kid Capri. And you have the Money Ain't a Thing, the anthem with Jermaine Dupri also on this album. And you also get one of my favorite songs on this album as well, Reservoir Dogs, featuring the Lox, Sauce Money, and Beanie Sigel makes his major label debut on this album. This is the first time I've heard of Beanie Sigel. He makes his first appearance on this album as well. This album, like I said, came out in the time period, particularly the year of 1998. To me, that was the best year for hip hop and R&B, urban music in general. You saw the release of a bunch of classic albums during the year of 1998. You had Lauryn Hill release the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill that year. You had Outkast release their classic album, Aquemini, which received 5 mics in the Source. DMX released 2 albums that year. His debut, Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. He also followed that up 7 months later with DMX released his debut album, It's Dark and Hell Is Hot, and he followed that up 7 months later with his second album, Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. You also had Big Pun to release his album that year, Capital Punishment. It was just a lot of great songs, great albums was releasing. No Limit was running the charts. Cash Money was coming up in the game. Juvenile released his classic 400 Degrees that year. Just 1998 was a big year, and this album was no exception. This album right here, like I said, launched Jay-Z into superstardom. So I'm always playing this album. I always go back and listen to it. It has some of my best songs from Jay-Z out of his career. I just love this album. Like I said, it's top 5 for me. It's in my top 5 of Jay-Z albums, along with the Black Album, The Blueprint, Reasonable Doubt, of course, and this album. And probably I will round the top 5 off with probably American Gangster. But yeah, but like I said, this is what I'm listening to. Then in the inside, you get the album credits. Then you get a picture of that same Bentley, also in the inside of the vinyl. But yeah, but this is what I'm going to be listening to on today. I'm going to be listening to Jay-Z Volume 2, Hard Knock Life. One of the best albums in my opinion from Jay-Z, one of the best albums from 1998. And this album also went on to spawn the hip hop tour by the same name, Hard Knock Life, the following year in 1999. On that tour, it was a legendary tour. He also released a DVD, if you haven't checked that out, chronicling and documenting the tour, which is entitled Hard Knock Life. That tour featured Redman and Method Man, DMX, Ja Rule. Who else? It basically had a lot of people on that tour, man. Jay-Z was the headliner, him and DMX. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely check that out. But yeah, but I'm gonna go ahead and end the video. But this is what I'm going to be listening to on today. Jay-Z Volume 2, Hard Knock Life, a classic in my book, one of my favorite hip hop albums, one of my favorite albums from Jay-Z. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.